Hey everybody, I'm going to do a twofer tonight because I missed a day, and I'm going to try to do at least one a day, but I definitely want to hammer these reviews out before I forget because I saw so many shows in such a little time. So, right now I'm going to review She Loves Me. She Loves Me, She Loves Me, She Loves Me. Okay, this show probably tied with Waitress my favorite on my entire trip. I got to go to the closing performance. It was really, really super special. The whole cast was like in tears at the end, and Scott Ellis came on stage to give a speech, and they also brought on Sheldon Harnick and Joe Masteroff, two of the original creators who are still with us, and they gave a speech, and it was just absolutely just a wonderful experience to have for that reason, just to see these legends up on stage. And it was just tacked on at the end of what was already just a magnificent, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful production of this beautiful, beautiful show that I had not seen before. I had a friend who I talked to before I saw it, and he told me you can listen to the cast recording, which I did, but don't watch anything from it. Don't watch the live stream. Don't watch anything going completely fresh. And I'm so, so, so glad I did, because this production was just all in all delightful and just adorable, and I just really, really adore this show, and I'm so glad we have the live stream so I can watch it again and again and again and again. So, anyway, if you don't know the story of She Loves Me, it's pretty basic, because it's kind of a tropey story to begin with, but you've got Amalia. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's Amalia. You have Amalia, and she's like this quirky, like, lady looking for work. And then you've got George, who works at a perfumery called Marichek's. And through an interesting sequence of events, she ends up getting a job there, and they kind of don't really hit it off to begin with. And then throughout the course of, like, most of the show, they develop very, very strong hatred for each other, and almost like a rivalry. I wouldn't say hatred. Hatred's a strong word, but just a rivalry, and kind of just, like, they despise one each other, and they like to play tricks on each other, and stuff like that. And all the while, this takes place in 1930s Budapest. And back then, obviously, there was no such thing as online dating. There was no Tinder. So basically, people who were looking for dates and stuff would put ads in the paper, and it was like a Lonely Hearts Club thing. And you would get a pen pal, and you would write to them. So the whole twist of the story is, well, the twist, it's kind of just an expected trope by now, is that Amalia and George have been writing to each other and falling in love through their letters the whole time. They've been hating each other in person, and they never knew who each other were. They didn't know that they were the people from the letters, so it's really, really cute story. And a bunch of other stuff happens in there too. Gavin Creel and Jane Krakowski also work there, and they've got their whole thing going on, and it's a really, really cute coupling. And then Gavin Creel, what's his character's name? Kodai is who he plays, and Jane Krakowski plays Ilona. And basically, the plot is simple, but it's also very complicated when you try to explain it. I'll just say that Gavin Creel does something very, very bad. Kodai, sorry, I keep calling them the actors. Kodai does something very, very bad, and nobody knows that he did it. And then George ends up getting blamed for it, so Mr. Marichek fires him, and there's a ton of miscommunication. And then Mr. Marichek is like, oh no, I did something horribly wrong, and there's an attempted suicide that kind of just comes out of nowhere from him. And then I feel really scattered trying to explain this, because there's so much that happens, but actually so little that happens. And then Tom McGowan plays Sipos, and he also works there. and he's kind of like a comedic relief character. I mean, it's a comedy. They're all comedic relief characters, but he's kind of just like the guy on the side, and he's kind of like the, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like the wise guy who gives kind of advice and is also far from perfect himself. And then the head waiter is Peter Bartlett, and he's got this really, really small portion at the end of Act 1 at the restaurant, and it's really, really funny, really, really great. And then Nicholas Barish, who I believe is only like 17 or 18, is playing Arpad, and he's the delivery boy for Marichek's Perfumery. And he is amazing. He's got a great number where he's trying to convince Mr. Marichek to let him be like a full-time clerk. So, yeah, and then, so I'll go through the cast. I'm so happy I finally got to see Laura Benanti in something. She was absolutely brilliant and radiant in this, and her performance was just so incredibly mind-boggling. In this role that is one of the funnier ones written for Sopranos, she channels everything and she finds every single laugh that there is to be found, and it was just delightful. And then opposite her, you've got Zachary Levi playing George, who I really, really enjoyed from First Date. And I'm so glad he came back to do this show because he was just wonderful, so funny. Him and Laura had such amazing chemistry. Yeah, and he was just really, really great at being like super dreamy, but also really, really funny and kind of dorky at some point. So yeah. And then Gavin Creel, like I said, he played Kodai, and he and Jane Krakowski, I can't really talk about one without the other. Jane Krakowski played Alona, and they're kind of an on-again, off-again couple throughout the show. And they've got an amazing, amazing dance number called Alona. They're both an amazing voice. Jane Krakowski also just everybody in the show really just comedic tour de force, like, at all corners. They're both insanely funny. Like I said, Brian Jennings, who was Mr. Marichek, he was great. He was really, really good at being that, like, stern, I'm the boss character, and I'm the boss, and you're going to listen to me, and so, yeah, he definitely brought what's needed to that role. His couple songs were great, and he did what he could with them. He's obviously not the focus of the show, so his songs, aren't really that important other than just, like, classic musical theater. Everybody gets a song. But he was actually really, really great. And then Tom McGowan, who played Sipos, really, really great. The role was originally played in this production by Michael McGrath, and for some reason he had to depart early. But you never would have known the difference with Tom McGowan because he was just hilarious and funny and just really, really, really good. I feel like I'm just saying everybody is really, really, really good because that's how this show was. Like, everybody was really, really, really good, and it was just wonderful. Anyway, the score. The score is really, really beautiful and gorgeous and vastly underrated in my opinion. The fact that, like, before this production I had, like, heard of the show but never listened to it is just, like, I appall myself because it's just such a great score. It's incredibly catchy and heartbreaking and funny, and it's just got everything. Laura Benanti's Act 1 closer, Dear Friend, just, like, absolutely slayed me in the theater. I was like, oh my gosh, I was expecting just, like, a fun musical comedy about, like, miscommunication, and then I was like, oh my gosh, Laura Benanti, you're breaking my heart right now. So it just really just came out of nowhere, just like the emotional range of this show, and that's partly because of the way it's written, and the music is just so gorgeous. And yeah, and I'm trying to think of what else I should talk about. The set was absolutely brilliant. a couple years ago I saw You Can't Take It With You, the revival. And, what's his first name? Rockwell. Where is it on here? Oh, David Rockwell. Sorry, I forgot your name, David, for a minute, but I knew your last name. David Rockwell designed that too, and he has like this kind of theme with both the things I've seen that he's designed, is that it's kind of like a dollhouse effect. So it's like you have like the storefront of Marichex, and then after like the opening scene, it just like opens up, and then oh, there we are, and it's like a big, amazing set. And oh, if you haven't seen it, look at pictures of it, watch the live stream, whatever. Just see this set because it was absolutely breathtaking in person. Totally deserved that award over anything else nominated. I'm looking at a certain show that starts with the letter H. So yeah, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should mention from it. I don't really know if I have a favorite part, just because it was all just delightful from the time I sat down to the time I left the theater. It was just an amazing, amazing experience, and the crowd energy was so great. You could tell everyone there was there because they loved the show so much. And like I said, it was the closing performance, so great entrance applause for everybody, and just an amazing energy in the room. So yeah, I don't really know if there's anything else I should say about it, other than I just loved it so much, and I've said that like 80 billion times already. So yeah, I would tell you to go see it, but sadly the way Roundabout is, they only do these limited engagements, and their shows are really good, and then it's like a limited engagement, and like after 5 months, it's like, if you didn't see it, you're screwed. So luckily this was recorded for the live stream, but I want it to still be running so you all can go see it in person, because it really was magical. And that sparks a great conversation. I'm going to kind of go off on a mini tangent. A great conversation about, like, you know, Roundabout, they've had a couple, like, runaway hits, like Cabaret and Anything Goes ran longer than their limited engagements. Like, Cabaret in its original run ran, like, 4 years, and Cabaret and its, like, re-revival of that production ran, like, a year. And Anything Goes ran, like, over a year. So it's just interesting to think, you know, if She Loves Me had beat The Color Purple for Best Revival, which it may be a controversial opinion, but I think it should have. If it had won, you know, would it still be running? Would Roundabout have transferred it, or like worked something out to where it could continue to run if it had won? Because I think it really deserved it, and it definitely would have extended at least up until this point if it had won, because it would have been totally deserved. But yeah, I'll stop blabbering. You can't go see it. There's nothing that can change that. But watch the live stream, buy the cast album. So yeah, just experience She Loves Me in some way or another, because it really just was perfection. So yeah, bye.